Greetings, valued poll listeners, and welcome to episode 102 of the Poll List podcast. It's weird to have to say that many syllables for number of episodes now, but here we are. It's a bi-weekly show about comics, pop culture, and faith. My name is Chris Poirier, and with me, as always, is the one, the only Hector. I almost said as seen on DC's The Swamp Thing yet again to throw back as we hit the spring season finale, but I don't know. It's still on your IMDb, right?
Well, no.
It's
Weird that my IMDb has been scrubbed.
How dare they?
But it's still there. It's empty, but if you scroll down on my IMDb, it says known for faith and fandom.
Wow.
So
this summer's project is to get Hector's cred back.
Yeah, my little IMDb Swamp Thing is gone. My associate producer for Blue Like Jazz is gone.
Ooh.
And I'm in the credits on that. That shouldn't be really like a
It actually happened.
That's for real. And it's like, come on, hey guys, that's a real thing. Give me my I'm like, you know what? I don't even care anymore. At this point, I feel like more people have listened to this podcast than have watched Swamp Thing. So
that should be on IMDb. We're in video now. That counts, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Actually, Matt,
get on that.
If we're on TV now, Matt, we should all Matt. That's like, what's that one strong bass like? Matt. I think if we're all on TV now through this glorious process, well, you should get us all on IMDb. Click,
yes.
Make it so.
Do not deny us glorious purpose. Reference. You're welcome. I guess that means as we wander into the summer months, we got to do the thing. So strap yourselves in and prepare yourselves, for we've got comic sign.
Better put the word out. Get ready for the nerd out. Better put specs on. Better bring next song. I cut handsome checks for my expansion sets. They call me Obi-Wan. Act like you know me, son.
And I'm sorry if this is a low energy one, guys. This is a post-church nap podcast.
Yeah, that's fair.
And my pastoral brain is really wanting to be asleep right now. So
I get that. I do the same thing. If I had to pastor beyond being like, hi, my Sunday afternoons kind of roll that way. So now you know it's Sunday afternoon, but it's Wednesday. So we are coming to you from the past. So it is true. On today's episode of the Poll List, which is the season finale, not series, season. Love how everybody does that now, and you have to listen close and be like, wait, is the show ending or is it just for now? Marketing's weird, but here we are. We're going to talk about our polls from the last couple weeks, our favorite new number ones, maybe. I don't know. Summer must be here because woof. Yeah, we're going to find a way to talk about comics for the next hour somehow. Because it feels like it was kind of that bad this time around. Comics be that way. This is the Poll List Podcast. Before we got started, I told Hector I had something for him, and he's like, save it for the podcast. So I'm going to lead with it. So I hope you're ready.
No.
You chose to not be mentally prepared for this. It has been announced.
It has been said.
It has been said, as some people would say, that the long Halloween is not the end of the story. And by that, I mean the long Halloween special, which came much later, is also not the end of the story. In fact, it was always intended to have a 10-part sequel. And you're going to get it. So it is being dedicated to sale, but they are laying the foundation, such as it were, for the long Halloween I'm sorry, I got to back up. The full title: Batman, The Long Halloween, The Last Halloween.
Is Jeff Loeb writing it?
Yes.
Okay, fair.
And so that's
I
the whole
like,
thing.
I was like, if
Yeah, yeah.
anybody, I don't even care if it's Tom King. If anybody but Jeff Loeb was writing it, I would call blasphemy. But go on.
Right. So apparently Jeff kind of alludes to the fact that there was a rough outline at least, and that Sala had intended to get here, and unfortunately that didn't happen. So this is kind of Jeff's way of saying, thank you for the cool thing that was The Long Halloween by kind of wrapping up the whole thing. So they're calling it a 10-part action-packed mystery that will serve as a prologue. So we'll see kind of how this whole thing plays out.
A prologue to The Long Halloween?
Yes.
I don't need a prologue. I'm anti-log.
Well, too bad. Some pretty cool covers are already kind of floating out there. We'll see what happens, but so you are anti-log.
Yes, I am anti-log. Ever since Ren and Stimpy.
That's what I took away from this. But it rolls downstairs. So there you have it. The Long Halloween, The Last Halloween.
It's better than bad. It's good.
It's better than bad. It's good. Here's hoping, but I do agree because Jeff's actually writing it that is slightly better than potentially anything else that could have happened.
That almost be like Marvel making a sequel to Civil War without any of the people that made Civil War.
What? Civil War 2 wasn't good?
It's log.
Oh, that dead air was worth it. You could feel the sarcasm dripping on that one. But yes, I guess Marvel's kind of out there trying to do their thing too. So Iron Fist turns 50 this year.
Okay.
Doesn't look a day over 30, but Iron Fist's 50th anniversary is going to hit this year as well. And Chris Claremont is actually leading a majority of the writers and other folks that are putting together.
Oh, I have news too.
Ooh,
sorry, go ahead.
Have actual. Well, this is good. Hector has breaking news here momentarily. Stand by. But yeah, Chris Claremont and a bunch of other folks are coming together for Iron Fist's 50th anniversary. Some folks that have worked on Iron Fist over the years. Apparently, we're going to get some Kevin Eastman action during this as well. So Kevin getting to do more and more projects over at Marvel was kind of fun just to see that art. But yeah, so if you like the Iron Fist, Chris Claremont, Kevin Eastman drawing Marvel characters, well, guess what? Your day's coming. All right. Breaking news, Hector.
You mentioned the 50th anniversary thing, and it reminded me. Just a couple weeks ago was Daredevil's 60th anniversary, correct?
That sounds right. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Issue 8 was
That's right.
Daredevil's 60th anniversary. You got jilted, fair people. If you picked up issue 8 of Daredevil, which was the 60th anniversary, you were missing about 16 pages in your book.
Some people were, yes.
Some people were. But if you purchased a Daredevil 8 at your comic book store, you can go get a new one.
Yep.
For free.
It's very true. And I believe some stores even got some new variants, etc. From what I heard from my local shop guy. There's something that happened there that basically they were like, whoops.
So yeah, in my pools was a crisp, chunkier new Daredevil 8. So make sure you grab that.
Yeah.
Because our shop actually does like a computer record of all your purchases. Like, like they're like, hey, you bought Daredevil. So everybody that bought a Daredevil number 8 was automatically put in their box. So that was pretty cool.
That's pretty cool. So yeah, if you read Daredevil last time and you were like, this feels light.
Well, I read Daredevil number 8 and immediately followed it by 9. So I think I just kind of all blended.
Right. You were like, okay, that happened. That's fair. the only other industry news that I have, and I feel like, and I mentioned to Hector kind of while we were talking before we were talking about talking, which is what a podcast is, so I'm told. News seemed light, and summer can be weird because either everything is dropping in preparation for the fall, but also I have to be reminded that June, July is heavy con season, which means a lot of places are going to hold stuff for panels for San Diego, for other shows, and all that good stuff. That there was just kind of a lacking of news. But interestingly enough, DC has either leaked or someone has found out, etc., that DC Comics is updating their logo and probably is going to reveal it at San Diego in July. This actually doesn't happen a ton.
I think I've seen 4 logo changes in my reading history.
Yep. And from what I can recall, for most modern, that's about right. For us is going to be that many. Taking a look total, it is actually 10 total, but for us, it would have been 4.
Okay. I'm glad with that number. I was pretty solid with that.
Yep. Yeah, you would have been seeing it. Because 76 was the change, and then 2005 to 2012, then 2012 to 16, and then 16 to now. And then 6 before that, back to the 40s. So good job.
Yay.
Yeah, I give you something for that, but too bad. So no idea. Not a clue. Like everyone's like, we think we've heard rumbles. I'm assuming it's probably going to come out side by side with whatever new hotness is coming. Because we're in this weird space of not 5G, but 5G / the whole Elseworld thing is coming back, but with new content. So I'll be curious if they're going to double down on this whole thing of everything is continuity and we're just going to come up with multiple ways to share said overlapping continuity and maybe some type of new logo to help usher in a new era. So San Diego might be at least somewhat interesting from that perspective, which is interesting because typically San Diego isn't comic book heavy. It's usually media heavy. So I'm kind of curious to see how that plays out and to see if San Diego actually brings a bunch of comic book news to us on top of any new media things, such as it were. But otherwise, I don't really have any other industry news. So I think Hector and I decided we would at least revisit for a second. Did you have something else?
Yeah, I was going to those Funkos I told you about.
Ooh, hit it.
As you know, it's pretty easy to get Batman Funkos, in general. There's always like a million of them.
Of just Batman.
Did you look this up when I told you? Or
no, I wasn't able to find it. So
okay, cool. Name somebody in the Bat family who you've never seen a Funko of.
In the family.
In the Bat family.
As I look at part of my wall.
Because I'm gonna tell you this. There are 5, and to my knowledge, 4 of them, if not all 5 of them, have never been Funkoed. That are Bat family, as in even recent, like the Bat family group shots. They're in it.
Interesting. All right, lay it out for us.
Okay, up first, and not putting these in any kind of order of importance. Batwing.
Interesting.
Yeah. Although he looks terrible.
Oh no.
Like if the name under it didn't say Batwing, I wouldn't have known it was Batwing.
You were like, who are you?
Yeah. Because absolutely. Cassandra Cain Batgirl.
Really?
Now, she's the one I'm not certain if she's been Funkoed before. But Cassandra Cain is getting her own Batgirl Funko. Or not even getting, it's out. You can go to GameStop. It's there. This one, I'm a little annoyed that it exists already in this same family.
Oh no.
Because if all of these other characters have been waiting 12 to 15 years, why is this fool here? Clown Hunter.
Bro. Okay, now I need to see what that one looks like.
Clown Hunter gets his own freaking Funko Pop. But wait, there's more. Winston Duke is the signal.
Okay, I had a feeling that one might be on there.
Yeah, and I figured that would be your first guess if you actually took a guess there.
Yeah, it's where I was leaning. You can get Clown Hunter for the deep discounted price of $12 already.
Yeah. And then definitely not least, but also last, spoiler.
Yep, I see that. So Duke's Pop looks pretty chill.
Duke's is great. There is a Joker War Joker that literally just looks like something I wouldn't even touch.
Yep, that checks out.
Spoilers looks great. Cassandra Cain looks good. My thing is,
you can't tell it's her, really.
Well, to tell it's her, you'd have to zoom in because she's got stitching around the mouth.
Right.
And my thing is, I would prefer the stitching to not be black so that you could see it a little easier. I also missed the fact of Cassandra Cain going from being Batgirl to being called Orphan and having her own distinct costume, and that just kind of being scrubbed, because I really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
But I guess we made Orphan sad.
Well, that happened. All right. Get your Clown Hunter. Clown Hunter is sold new at $12. Jeez.
I mean, it's not like a special pop.
Yeah, I know, but I thought most of the, well, I don't know. So before we jump out of news, any final thoughts on X-Men 97 now that it is resolved by this recording? And if you haven't seen all the way to the end, then yeah, this is another one of those spoilery moments.
Oh, no, you don't get a warning. You don't get a warning.
Hector says you need to be up to date or get out.
No, not even that. But I'm going to say this. We're like 2 weeks past X-Men 97 ending. Normally, a TV show spoiler is 3 days.
Yeah.
And this is X-Men 97. And I'm not here to shame you, but I'm just going to put some general shame in the air. And if it lands on you, that's your fault.
Welcome to the Pull List Podcast, where Hector will now shame you for the next 10 minutes.
No, I'm just putting shame. I'm letting it waft. If it wafts into your ear holes, that's on you.
That's on you.
No,
you've been warned.
If you enjoy comic books and you've not watched X-Men 97, I highly recommend you do so. I just feel like they really strongly stuck the landing.
There was some heavy stuff for them to land, and I was like, man, this is one of those shows that's either going to get it or is really going to mess it up.
And I'll say this, dude, like the actual, not just the story, but the writing dialogue in the final episode was like, who the crap is writing this? Like Shakespearean commentary. What on earth is happening? Because some of the dialogue was just pure fire. And I made a meme of it and everything because, surprise. But
yeah, Hector does that. For those of you that don't know, Hector does memes for interwebs.
I do those things. But like, legitimately, who would have thought we would get a King T'Chaka making Bible references in the middle of an X-Men finale? Like, what on earth?
What just happened?
He's like, and the line was like so freaking Orson Welles-ish of, you better hope they read the history books more than they do their Bible, because only history would allow us to con on our way into forgiveness.
Yeah.
Like, holy balls, man.
What just happened?
And like, it's just one of those things. It's just like, dang, that was a burn, but it was also subtle. And ow. And like, whoa.
That burn's going to require some topical cream.
Yeah. And it was just like, oh snap. And I was like, and plus, it was great seeing the multitude of cameos, but I also not saying I was dazzled by cameos. I'm like, we're living in 2024 and we're a bunch of geeks on a streaming network. You're gonna have to do more than cameos to impress us here. We've lived through the multiverse of madness and No Way Home.
Yep.
Step it up. I mean, we got freaking Jim Halpert as Mr. Fantastic. What you got? Nothing.
Yeah, come at me, bro.
You got to come at me harder than that.
Oh man, and I think they tried, to be completely fair. We all knew that some people weren't dead that were supposedly dead because yay comics. So far, others have stayed very dead. Remember the name.
Remember it.
Remember it.
It's Remy LeBeau, not Mike Shinoda, sir. This is 10% luck, mon ami. 20% skill share.
Oh man, either everyone got that or nobody got that, and we just
so enjoy that early 2000s post Linkin Park, not post Linkin Park, but early 2000s Mike Shinoda.
Yep.
Rap reference for Remember the Name.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I now need somebody to go onto TikTok and remake all of Remember the Name as Gambit. Please and thank you.
Please, thanks. So I think my favorite part of all of that is in their indirect cameoage of the end of the show, though, is I think I counted at least 3 major story arcs that they could potentially have set up in the last episode alone from the X-Men world. And I kind of sat there in slight awe as I was like, those are related only in the fact that they take place in the X-Men universe and nothing else. So they kept giving us the Avengers. So if we absolutely do not get Avengers versus X-Men within the next 3 seasons, I quit.
We won't.
Oh, we totally are. Otherwise, why are they there?
Everybody was there, bro.
I don't get. Not everybody.
They gave us Cloak and Dagger. They gave us Daredevil. Does that mean we're getting the Defenders? Come on, bro. We're not getting all that.
Mm-hmm.
We're not.
Sorry, 4. I would like to see X-Men versus Avengers, but we shall see.
I feel like we're going to get that in the movie before we get in cartoon.
Possibly. The whole thing gave us Futures Past vibes, and they went really hard at that one. In terms of stuff that you saw, I kind of would like to see a House of M. That door just kind of got cracked, but I think that one might be a little harder.
I don't think we're anywhere near there.
I'm wondering. It depends on how much runway they've given themselves, I think, and we just don't know. And that's going to be on all of us continuing to watch it.
But season 2 is going to be based on the work that homeboy that got fired already did.
Yep.
There's not a writer for season 3 yet.
Yeah. Okay. That obvious. I was going to mention that too. That's going to complicate things because the guy that technically helped write the brilliance that is this has already been fired.
He's already been fired. And here's what I've learned is you can have the best writing, but if the person that wrote it's not there to execute it, you get the last season of Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Dude, we're a couple wrong turns away from this being Days of Future Past.
Yep. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Aw. Come on. This is the best X-Men we've had in a while. Don't mess it up.
It is, but all I'm saying is if we left it here, I'm great.
That's true. I think I would be okay with that.
Stick the landing and move on.
So, and I feel like some people in pop culture have been talking about that lately. Of sometimes we do, we make money folks show up and go, "Hey, you did really great. Give us one more." And they're like, "Nope, that was it."
Like I got a nifty Nightcrawler action figure.
Ooh, it's very pretty.
And
hi Nightcrawler.
Hi Nightcrawler. To go with my other 2 and the Funko Pop. I have to rearrange all my shelves now. I got a nifty Nightcrawler action figure. I'll probably also buy a Rogue action figure. Past that, I'm probably not going to buy anything. And that's it. That's where it's going to land. I will point one thing out. Someone, and I can't remember who without going through all the interwebs again. Someone when I made a Nightcrawler meme, because one of the things that Nightcrawler does in one of the last episodes is he makes a prayer that's a direct scripture quote about "Protect us, Lord, you are our refuge." Something. It's a direct verse. So I just put the reference under it, and someone, which is fair game to do, went to DMs with me to say that he was disappointed that they were bold enough to let Nightcrawler still be a Christian, but not bold enough to let him have a cross on his rosary. And while I do say, okay, I see that, then somebody else in a similar conversation pointed out zoom in. There is a silver bead on the end of Nightcrawler's rosary that just blends in. And if you zoom in, there is a cross on that bead. Like it's a silver medallion bead. Now, there's not a dangly cross hanging, but there is a bead with a cross on it. So, like, small details, I get it. It's, you're not going to make everybody happy with any direction you take. But, and somebody also said that they made Nightcrawler too woke in this one. And I'm like,
huh?
Like, I could see a little, cultural spanning scenarios going on. But for the vast majority, I felt like he was pretty faithful.
I thought so too. I was worried.
Oh, of course, I'm worried every time they do something with Nightcrawler. There aren't that many godly presences in the world of comics, and I want to hang on to him as much as I can. So when Daredevil, Nightcrawler, occasionally Shepherd Book, and whoever else you want to do are actually repping Jesus well, thank you.
Yes, thank you. Please and thank. So if you haven't watched X-Men 97, do it. Do it now.
Yeah.
We'll be here waiting. We're just going to fill like 8 hours of silence now while you catch up.
Well, it's only like what, 10 episodes at 20
Yeah, it's not even. It's more
4
like
hours. 4 hours.
Yeah, 4 hours tops. You'll be fine. But we'll still be here. We'll be waiting. Don't rush. We've got you. But that is going to do it for our look at news in the industry and all that good stuff. So as always, you can join in the conversation with Hector and I over on the Love Thy Nerd Discord channel. We got our own little comic space over there, and we can talk about all kinds of nerdy stuff all over the summer, just in general. So tell us what you liked, what you hated, or possibly what we missed. And over the last couple of weeks, we might have missed a lot, or maybe we truly didn't miss anything. And that's just the way that it is.
Blast.
See, I finished it, and you actually had something.
Well, no, what I did have is, did you read Doom #1?
No.
There's a new Doctor Doom book.
Oh, I saw that, and I kept going, do I really want to do this?
I wanted to read
no.
it. I wanted to read it, but here's why, and I mentioned this on my little Friday morning news show thingy. This Doctor Doom book, and why I wanted this Doctor Doom book, is it pays tribute to MF Doom, because it's the first Doctor Doom book since MF Doom.
I did not know that.
Which there were none on my shelves because of that, probably. The book opens, or at least I've seen the panels. There are panels of the book where it's literally just quoting MF Doom lyrics.
Let's go. Okay, I take everything back. I will now be finding this because, Well,
and I had it in my mind because my shop was sold out to buy it digitally so I could read it and put that as my #1. But life. So
it do be that way sometimes.
I might magically have a #1 by the time Chris is done talking. So we'll see.
Let's go. All right. Well, I mean, it's time for you to hit it. So let's talk about some comic books. Yeah. See? So no.
It's my turn. Oh.
Sorry to make you podcast.
So first off, this was a not great month or 2 weeks or whatever.
I concur on that full-heartedly, because I made it. I usually don't make it to the comic book store 2 separate times before we record. I usually make it like the second week going into a recording weekend and pick everything up. But this week I actually made it because I'm trying to support my local guy a little more frequently than that. And I think I only spent $60 on comics where I normally spend $100. And man, I take the financial hit for y'all.
I don't even want to spend $100. Like I'm comfortable at the $50-$60 mark, but I feel you. But I bought 8 books in a 2-week window. Right? Is that my math incorrectly? Yeah, I bought.
No, I bet you're probably right.
Out of that 8 books, man.
I was gonna say, if I only had read 8 books, I probably couldn't fill.
Now, here's what I'm going to tell you. I'm not telling you that these are good.
You're saying that you read them.
I'm saying out of the 8 I read, this is the top 4 out of the 8 I read.
Now, let's go.
If I read Dr. Doom while Chris is talking, maybe we'll see where that goes.
He'll come back and be like, hey, actually,
that was pretty good.
That was okay.
Yeah. But yeah, I figured especially you'd want to know about the MF Doom thing.
Yeah, I feel kind of sad that I missed that, actually.
Well, stop being a hater.
Bruh. It's a good thing I like you. How dare you?
What is that book called? Is it Doom?
I'm pretty sure it's just called Doom. Yeah.
Okay. Hold on. Yeah. Yes, May 15th, 2024. $7 on Kindle.
Yeah, I believe it. I think that like literally I looked at the authors and the artists and I went, I don't think I need it.
Oh, it's Hickman. Oh, well, here's the thing. You know what? I know Sanford.
I'd be okay with. Yeah, still.
Sanford is a homie. Again, I say, I might not buy this during this podcast. I might try and find a physical copy.
There you go.
I'm paying $7.
Might as well actually have it.
Yeah, for reals. All
right. Hold on. What is Midtown? Maybe they got a.
Oh, it's one shot too.
Yeah, no, it's just a one. I am not a fan of this $7 to $10 one shot nonsense that's still going on.
Okay. Either way, it's got MF Doom lyrics in it. God bless you and your family. I think I'm done now. So out of what I read, let's start with Nightwing. You said, based solely on the artwork and the story pitch, that this might be something that you should pick up.
And then I still didn't.
And you still didn't.
Yeah.
And here's what I'm going to tell you. This is called the fall of. Quit hitting the microphone. This is called Fallen Grayson number 1 of 5. This is the end of Tom Taylor's run on Nightwing since Leaping into the Light, which has been stellar work across the board. It's been the most consistent DC book I've read. For your sake, this is not a jumping on point, and it is 100% a wrap up to everything prior.
Interesting.
So even whatever it looks like, don't do this. Don't jump in here if you're not going to pick up.
Just said don't do it.
No, it's great, but this is literally like jumping into the last 15 minutes of a movie. So if you're reading Nightwing, keep reading Nightwing. It's bringing you to the climax of the whole Heartless story. Nightwing has been struggling since a certain point with a fear of heights.
Okay. That doesn't work out very well for a Flying Grayson.
Right. And so part of this is him going like solo mountain climbing to like kind of regain that.
Got you.
But it's also a big climactic story of everything it's led up to. So it's consistent. It's still great. You get a good chunk of the Bat family here. You get Heartless proving to be one of the best DC villain additions to the universe in a hot minute. And realistically speaking, if Heartless doesn't transfer to the rest of DC proper, I'm going to be rather sad about it. Because he is a good addition. There's that.
That happened.
Yep. She-Hulk number 8, which is picking up from the previous wacky romance triangle that we saw ahead of time. And yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
Like literally the whole thing was She-Hulk and her nuclear boyfriend went to space to go on vacation.
Did they?
He ran into the woman he had previously pledged to serve for the rest of his life.
Oops.
That's
awkward.
And so he's supposed to be her like life servant for the rest of eternity. And then immediately after that, his previous girlfriend / life servant partner is contracted to kill She-Hulk.
That is more awkward.
And so that's where the last issue ended, and this is the resolution of all that. And it's a lot of relational stuff, a lot of talky, a little kissy. It was good. I have zero complaints about it. I enjoyed it better than the last one. And yeah, this is a very relational book. So razzle dazzle. Let's see. And I'm going to stop by saying, based on quality alone, my polls would stop after this one. If
that was that's about as good as it got, huh?
Like, well, with Wonder Woman number 9 is kind of where, like, after this, I'm done. There isn't anything of high quality I would highly recommend beyond this. This does pick up with where we left off, but in a similar state of, instead of the Sovereign trying to manipulate with her with scripture and the lasso of lies, the whole book is Wonder Woman in solitary confinement, being starved and isolated to death.
Yeah. It was an interesting read from that perspective. It took me a while to completely embrace what I was digesting, but this is some Tom King stuff.
And here's the thing, you know how like Guitar Hero, there's that meter of like you rock, you suck.
Yeah.
Like if the you rock meter of Tom King is Mr. Miracle in Batman 53, and the you suck meter is, guess what it is, Chris?
It's starting to fall.
No. What's the far end of the you suck meter?
Oh, you rock.
Tom King.
Yeah.
On the Tom King scale.
Oh, on the Tom King, the top?
No, the far you suck. What's the you suck far right?
We're gonna get it. Hey,
go ahead.
If you're an audience member, you should know the answer to this is dragging your dead mother through the desert in a coffin. Thanks, Tom King.
Yeah. If this issue like was on the Guitar Hero thing, I think we moved a little more towards the you suck end of things.
There were a lot of words here, and I don't know if they were beneficial. Is kind of because I found myself skipping some panels because I was like, okay, I think I see what's going on. Good. Get to the point. Good.
Well, and that's the thing. This is not linear storytelling. This is internal dialogue while Wonder Woman is sitting in isolation, having a fictional conversation with, I guess all comics are fictional conversations, but having a fictitious conversation with the part of Steve Trevor that lives inside of her. There are some good lines.
Yep.
There's some good lines like when you love someone, you give them part of your soul, like stuff like that. There's great writing, but it's not like a great story. So the entire story can be summed up. She was in isolation for an undetermined amount of time, and she focused on the positive things to keep her from going insane. The end.
Mm-hmm. Right. Nailed it.
So the whole issue is just what's going on in her head while she's in isolation. So knowing that this portion of the story is a 3-story act, we had the Sovereign and the Rope of Lies in Scripture. We had her in isolation. Whatever the third act of this is going to have to be like a killer to pull this 3-issue arc back towards Mr. Miracle.
Back towards less suck.
Less suck.
I will say they gave us Jumpa though.
Yeah, we got Jumpa.
If you know, you know.
Yeah. And just for the sheer mathematics of it, I'm going to throw Batman and Robin in here.
Against my will, here is a book that I did in fact read this week.
Now let me say this. I would have put Blood Hunt #2 there.
But somebody else already did. Oh.
Yeah, but somebody else already did it.
So that means Blood Hunt didn't actually suck then. Chris might have been sort of right about something.
No, it was just better than Batman and Robin.
That's fair.
Here's the other books I read.
On this, yeah, okay.
On the Blood, so out of the 4 remaining books I had were Red Hood, The Hill #4.
Yep.
Superman #14, which is in the middle of a giant crossover. Now, here's the thing. Josh Williamson has been killing it on Superman. But when you have a giant 4-part crossover with 4 other books, I'm not buying those.
Yeah, that ain't happening.
Which means this story is ineffective just reading Superman.
Because aren't they isn't it a Brainiac thing?
It's a Brainiac thing with an army of Lobos.
No, come on. Why is DC and Marvel doing this to us? It's okay.
So it's Brainiac with an army of Lobos, and it crosses over to Batman or to Superman, Supergirl, and Green Lantern, and something else.
Sure.
But again, out of these. I'm gonna go with Batman and Robin. You do get the true identity of Shush and her connection to Tommy Elliott.
That's where they dropped that?
9? Yeah.
Okay.
They gave us a 6-issue red herring.
That checks out.
Because there was somebody else from Damien's life in there. And look, in one panel, you get one glorious picture of Hush out of this whole book.
How'd that make you feel?
It was nice. Honestly, it was nice to see Tommy Elliott on a page again. You get a Tommy Elliott page of him as a surgeon, but you get one Hush page because she's part of Hush's backstory.
Okay, did in your honest opinion, seeing as that's like Hector's jam and a half, did that pay off, or is Sush just still silly?
Okay.
Asking the hard-hitting questions here.
She was connected to Tommy Elliott and found a lot of her identity and who he was. And when Batman was responsible for him going away, she felt lost.
Oh.
Yeah. So not a love interest, not a daughter, anything like that, just a medical student or whatever. And I'm happy that there was a Hush tie-in because it's been a minute. So yeah.
All right. Well, yeah, that happened, I guess.
But not the problem, but like where it's losing me is that this book has become a Man-Bat book above everything else.
Awesome.
That the whole thing is that Man-Bat is experimenting on half of what Bastion was doing with the people Sentinels, he's doing with Man-Bats.
Oh,
like people are sleeper Man-Bats and he's poisoning them and stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's like, man. Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So those are the books I read. Yay.
so those happened.
Honestly, Nightwing was good, but I didn't love anything I read this month or this 2-week window. I didn't love any of it.
I have to think
Like
about
not a thing. I was okay with it, with half of it. I didn't love it. I didn't love any of it.
All right, that's fair.
So razzle
dazzle. I read Blood Hunt, number dose, as was alluded to. I kind of am in the same place. I don't know if I would say love, but I would say Marvel got me to read more than the number one of an event.
And I'll say this: Blood Hunt number 2 was fun to read,
and
some
of the
team dynamics were good.
Yep, that's where I'm at in this series. Is it's still kind of okay? DC did the whole vampire/zombies thing and made lots and lots of money, so let's revisit this whole thing. And Blade Breaking Bad doesn't really shock me in any way, shape, or form. So whatever. He's basically trying to be the king of the vampires, even in a Marvel world where Dracula exists and isn't actually in charge, is super kind of fun. This book is all of Blood Hunt is just literally off the wall. Like, it's kind of broken how insane lots of different pieces are. And I'm reading some of the associated books to find out whether you should I'm sticking with you should mostly just read the main line, because the Amazing Spider-Man one came close to me saying that was pretty good, because it's just fun. Because Spider-Man is kind of one of the more fun characters in my mind in this whole thing at the moment, because he's like, vampires. And he's just kind of dealing with it. And there's tons of great dialogue to that note in the middle of all this insanity of, the world is plunged in the darkness. Blade's trying to find his daughter. And random Avengers are trying to make sense of the whole world and everything. And I'm trying to find it, because I did almost kind of laugh out loud when Spider-Man showed up and they're like, "Hey, we've been looking for you." And he's like, "Yeah, I've been busy." And he was like, "Wait, you're not Moon Knight. Are you the other Moon Knight? Another Moon Knight? Moon Knight? Question mark. And I was like, okay, well done. So Blood Hunt is just crazy. And they did a super fun thing with Doctor Strange, I thought, too, which, he turned Doctor Strange, who was close to finding a cure and everything, but Doctor Strange was able to separate his astral self. So his astral self is like trying to like help the Avengers and be like, yeah, I'm kind of busy being a vampire over there, and that's bad, but I'm gonna do what I can over here in the astral plane. And I'm like, okay, that's fun, that's clever. Captain Marvel does some pretty sweet Captain Marvel stuffs. Just in terms of Marvel being fun, I feel like this is fun for a change.
Yeah.
And it's at least well done enough that I actually want to keep reading it, as opposed to being like, all right, some Avenger stuff ends up just being a lot. I don't know if there's any other way to explain that there's a lot of times I read Avengers events and I go, way too many people, way too much stuff going on. This is actually not that fun. This is just vampires. And so far is pretty darn fun. But
very generic vampires too. Not like vampires with a backstory.
No, I mean, some are present there. Villains. Like, you can care that Dracula in Marvel canon is here and is like in charge of like a small army kind of thing. But outside of that, it's like, cool, it's Dracula. So I'm about it. I did read Union Jack the Ripper, wanting to love everything about that and them not sticking that landing at all. They literally just wanted to find a reason to utter the phrase Union Jack the Ripper and not do anything with it. So that disappointed me greatly, but there you go. Blood Hunt, kind of fun. Because I was on that similar journey of what on earth am I going to say? Uncanny Valley number 2 came out, which was Boom's weird book where that kid gets saved by his cartoon grandpa and goes into the cartoon world or something like that. So still weird, but you're at least, kind of unpacking the details of what this whole thing is about, is that, his entire family is basically half-toon. So is he. and he's starting to find out what that means and what that can mean. And there's foils of a lot of, Saturday morning cartoon type stuff that a lot of folks grew up with, because, like, his grandpa is not Yosemite Sam, but is. And when they go into the thing, they run into a Wile E. Coyote, but they just call him the Dingo. And he keeps trying to blow him up with sticks of dynamite. It's crazy. There's lots of nonsense going on here, but he's basically teaching the kid that he does know how to be a cartoon and basically how to use toon abilities to, well, not die. It's still not super explanatory in what's going on and why. But the art's good. The story kind of holds up. So if you're looking for Who Framed Roger Rabbit, but like in the reverse, sort of, that's what's happening. It's interesting. And it might get me through at least one more issue if they decide to tell us where we're going. Ultimate X-Men might be the first book in a while that I finish all the way through an arc, because Peach Momoko is just doing cool stuff here. I'm hearing from other folks that everyone's having a love-hate relationship with this, because some people don't like the writing when Peach does both sides of everything. But frankly, because of how cultural this is, I really dig it. Because still doing the thing that the last page is always, any Japanese cultural topics that were discussed are fully explained in what they are and why they're important. So that's kind of fun, but it's also just this process of all these X-Men characters in their alternate universe origin story, and that they all go basically to a Japanese high school. So I'm waiting for a 1A reference in here somewhere. Right. Cause totally coming. But instead of they kind of give us a peek at what looks like one or two other additional mutants, but this is the first book in this series that the word mutant is uttered. So we have Armor and Storm currently up, and this book ended up going back and basically being a complete origin story for Storm in this context, and it's a little rough. Provide the trigger warning, if you will, there, of where Storm finds their power here is from being abused by her father. That literally, when she gets struck by her father for being, I don't know, basically a teenager in this sense, her hair goes white and she has a firmer grasp on her ability for weather, and she gets thrown out from her family. The word mutant isn't even uttered in this context yet, but at the end of the book, both Armor and Storm are on a playground and another character is being set up, and that character's like, huh, you guys are mutants too. And all of them do what? And that's kind of where this issue drops off. So far it's a very interesting look at the whole thing through a Japanese cultural view. And I'm enjoying that journey because there's a lot there, but I guess some people are getting bored with it. And so I guess I can see why people would do that. But to me, it's kind of an interesting look at the X-Men and where a lot of some of the X-mutants came from. But we haven't quite seen what this world thinks of mutants yet. So I have a feeling that gut punch could still be coming. And finally, Ghost Machine continues to do pretty freaking good with their stuff. And Redcoat is now one of the most insane alternate history books. I told you last time, it's about this British soldier that defects at the Battle of Trenton and accidentally becomes immortal when Ben Franklin was supposed to become immortal. And at the end of the first book, he meets a very young Albert Einstein. So this is the journey of Albert Einstein and the main character Pure here. Because when Pure's resurrected, Albert Einstein digs him up and he's like, I think I know what you are. And this character's like, what? Shenanigans ensue, and he's like, okay, I need to go find the only other immortal that I'm aware of. And he tells a very short story of basically over the last 100 years or so, there's been one other immortal that he tripped over that went through a similar experience. Don't know whose immortality he stole, but he did. And they basically arrive at a party thrown by one Benedict Arnold. And this is just the gift that keeps giving in my mind because it's just utter insanity of alternate histories.
So if you're a history nerd, this is fun.
It's also just pure absurdity to an extent. Yeah, because that's what I got. That there's an entire bio on Albert Einstein in the back as his young self, who is written in very broken English throughout. But like the art's really cool. There's like really crazy stuff going on in the pages, and it's like this is just comic books, man. Like this is pulpy, and I like it.
So something you said in there also triggered a news memory thing for me. Did you hear about Venom 3 this week?
No. You said Venom, so no.
Okay. So, and I got this from moderately reliable sources, but I'm going to say take this with a grain of salt.
Breaking news.
This came from a plot synopsis test thing, like of people that are doing like approvals of movie scripts and stuff.
Right.
Was it Toxic was the one that was set up at the end of the second movie?
Bro, I don't know. I still have not seen any of those movies.
Really?
Yup. It's on my waiting for a rainy day to just plow through them.
Okay. Well, here's the thing. The first Venom was okay. The second Venom was like window dressing, like let's give you the appearance of Carnage, but a bad executed story. Yeah. And then you also get, and then I guess it's No Way Home that's got Danny Rojas and Venom in it. Yeah. At the post-credit scene. Okay.
Yeah.
So Venom
that
3,
was about the time I went, I guess I should go back and watch these.
Yeah. Venom 3 is reportedly going to be that one of the symbiotes that was set up at the end of the second movie is going to basically create a handful of other, including one of the symbiotes that is Scream.
Okay.
But do you know who Scream is?
No.
And the symbiotes? You don't know who Scream is?
I literally almost care negative about anything in Venom canon.
Like Maximum Carnage era, bro?
Yeah. Even including.
Oh. Hurts Mark Bagley's heart, man. Jeez, man.
Yeah, I don't know why,
Maximum Carnage video game on Super Nintendo was fire. And I think half my knowledge came from that. Either way, I guess you need to know, and any other muggles out there that are not interested, is that it appears that Keeley from Ted Lasso is going to be not only Eddie Brock's potential love interest in this, but she's going to be Scream the symbiote. But where what you said triggered things, because of how Venom traveled over in No Way Home and gained the knowledge that Peter Parker was Spider-Man.
Right.
The hive mind of the symbiote now has that knowledge. And their goal is to go kill Peter Parker in Venom's world because he's the one who will eventually defeat Venom or kill Venom.
So it's the Terminator.
But wait, there's more, because it is. If what I'm reading is correct, is that Peter Parker's 10 in this. And so Venom has to go from being like the one that's, going to kill Peter Parker, that he has to become Peter Parker's Wait for it. Lethal Protector.
I hate everything about this.
That's the news. It's some comics. And we don't have number ones. So
yeah, neither of us. So, yeah.
Doom would have been it, I guess. But
I guess just for the MF Doom references alone, go read Doom #1 that neither of us have read yet. Because, yeah, something happened this month because, no #1. Not one.
Now, I also didn't get to go browse my comic shop the last 2 weeks.
I did 4 hours ago.
And had I done that, maybe I would have found something, but my schedule did not permit it. So,
I mean, that checks out.
I had to send people to get comics for me. I'm having people on the streets for y'all. On the streets.
We're out on these comic book streets for you.
I had a poet hand deliver my comics to a street festival. Son, for y'all.
Let's go. That's how much you all mean to each and every one of us. Yeah.
They called this man the most handsome man in poetry, and he was delivering comics.
Wow. For you.
Somebody calls him that. It's not me.
Aw. So, yeah, that's going to do it for us here at the Polis Podcast. Episode 100 and dose is in the books and now in your ears, your eyeballs, because you can absorb this content in many different ways now. You can catch us on YouTube. We even have our own YouTube channel now. We just found that out. We're like awesome and stuff because Matt did the thing. Matt still has to go back to the beginning of this episode and do that other thing we told him to do, but this is awesome.
We're on the televisions, Matt. Get us IMDb.
The IMDb. But we seriously can't do this alone. We need people like Matt and other folks that do editing for us over at Love Thy Nerd on the podcast network, of which we are part of. We're on that Love Thy Nerd podcast network and have been for the last 5 years. So you can visit lovethynerd.com to find other stuffs, other shows. Hector does 5 billion other things over there.
I just did a show about losing your spouse when they die and how to deal with grief, because that's fun.
Dang.
That happened.
Yeah. So that happened. Hector handles all the things from, the seriouses and all the way to the comic books. So head over to lovethynerd.com for other shows, episodes, etc. You can get depressed by Hector or uplifted by Hector. Just depends on the episode. But wait, there is more. We've been telling you this for the last couple episodes and basically this episode.
And shout out to Subdue the Day.
Yeah. Got those hardcore editing shops for those of you that do the podcast listenings. Small army of people bring you this wonderful product that we call the Polis Podcast. But you can also catch us on the Glue Network, GLU, on your Roku or your smart TV. You can download on the iPhone, the Androids, but Glue exists to unlock the inspirational value of faith-centric programming, partnering with Christian content creators like us. And like Love Thy Nerd, the Polis Podcast, we're all over there. So we are proud to join our friends God Squad Church and Unity Gaming as the first group of nerd culture channels over there on the platform. Download the GLU network app today and search for Love Thy Nerd, and you can watch us on your very own televisions. I haven't tried that yet. I should do that. And I can be like, I'm on TV. I could do the Leo thing. Woo! So truthfully, as we wrap up this season to take a break for the next couple months, don't worry, Hector and I shall return this fall. And we do want to thank you from the very bottom of our hearts for choosing us as your primary comic book knowledge factory on mostly it's not really weekly. It's the near bi-weekly basis. So don't leave us hanging. Rate, review the show on all of your apps of choice. As stated, we're over there on that Glue network on the YouTube, the iTunes, the Spotify, the Stitcher Radio. I mean, I think if it's on the internet, we're probably there. It's been 5 years. We're everywhere.
We're on MySpace.
we have a MySpace page. Go check out Hector's playlist opportunities.
You can be in our top 5.
Top 5. Right next to Tom. Because he's still our number one friend. So thanks for hanging out with us. And as always, read more comics.
I'm gonna take all